I'm Dustin from I Am Spoonbender, and I play, perform, write, record, and work with Mark, who's not here, and Cup, who is right behind me.
It's me. Hi.
Oh, what's good about this is that I can swear, right? And what's really terrible about this interview is that I have to be totally narcissistic to make sure that I'm on the camera. I have to look at myself. And that is really stupid.
I have to look at you too.
Yeah, that's true. John almost just killed us, but that's okay. We run a commercial recording studio in San Francisco, so we record other people's bands as well as our own stuff, which is fun, and we only take on projects that we want to work on, which is nice, so we don't have to work on, well, other people might call it bad music, but we only work on music that we like the people or like their band. Sometimes we'll take some corporate jobs just to make cash to help finance ludicrous projects of ours, like DVD albums and things. But I did a record and tour with Damo Suzuki and Michael Caroli and Mark Spivey that got released in Japan on Captain Trips. And we need to get closer together.
More of your face.
There we go. And I used to play in Pansy Division. I also play with Link Ray when he comes to America to do shows. Used to be in a band called Thought Industry, which was on this metal label called Metal Blade back in the early 90s. Actually, we played the final Skinny Puppy tour in '92, which is really fun.
I started in a band called Cub from Vancouver. 3 women playing bass, guitar, and drums, and singing a whole lot.
So
that lasted for like 5 years.
The thing about I Am Spoonbender is that we have played and do play all kinds of music. I Am Spoonbender is a specific project about doing this thing. I think unlike a lot of bands where people play what they're capable of, this was a decision and a conceptual idea right from the beginning. If that distinction is clear. Do you know what I mean?
What is the concept?
Well, it started off as a concept about not having any guitars. And this is, in the mid-90s when it's pretty common now, but that wasn't going on, So we wanted to take away the things that made other sort of rock format bands the same, which obviously is the endless guitar thing. So live drums, electric bass once in a while, minimal vocals, mostly instrumental, doing sort of Love Secret Domain era Coil and late 70s Eno kind of avant rock music with electronics. So, you know, we could just as easily be playing progressive metal stuff or straight up ambient stuff, which we do. We do that on our own for fun and in different projects, but I Am Spoonbender takes so much time, so much of our time, that we really only have time for this these days. Thankfully, which we're happy about that because of the support that we receive from people. The live show seemed to follow the actual albums because I Am Spoonbender started off as a solo project basically of mine. So there wasn't really much thought about doing it live. But then once Cup got involved, we started talking about how it might be interesting to do it live. And so since all of the albums, except for the newest EP, which is just 3 songs, the 2 releases previous are sort of meant to have a cinematic flow where things dissolve into the next piece of music, where it goes from sort of avant-rock song abstractions to full-on ambient stuff. Seamlessly is the attempt. So we try and do that live also. Certainly we try and make it more direct live, much more sort of aggressive, and something for people to look at too. Whereas obviously the albums are meant to have some subtlety and some craft. And we certainly try and bring that across live, but we tend to think of the recorded work first. But this year we're focusing on the live show.
Is it difficult for you guys to tour and play shows outside of your stomping grounds?
Absolutely.
I'm Spoonbender's too heavy for Cambridge's power.
What you're seeing right now, viewers, is about 3 years behind what we generally do at home, which has synced up films and all sorts of things. So San Francisco people have seen a couple years down the road what we're doing. So this is only the second time that I Am Spoonbender's been off the West Coast, and the first time we've been to Boston. It's very difficult. We had to get the band to the level where people basically knew who we were enough to get people to come, where we could justify headliner slots and getting paid what we get paid to do this. San Francisco is very expensive to leave behind and not have money coming in, etc. It's a difficult band, it really is. And it's difficult to translate what we do. But I think it's happening. People have been incredibly excited about it, especially after the show, which is a good sign.
Definitions from one person to the next are very different of what each genre is. So, for example, somebody will bring up electro clash, and another person will bring up electro, and somebody else will bring up electronica, and to certain people that's all the same. There is no distinction. They don't, it's just one big nebulous lump of music. Whereas other people, it's meticulously picked out as to what exactly each genre is, and they're very specific that they don't want this and they do want this, and it's so I just find it incredibly limiting. But people do need some guidance, it seems, if they're not familiar with.
So tell me a little bit more about this conceptual album multimedia thing that's supposed to be available soon.
Those are your words, not ours. Available soon. We'll see what happens.
It was scheduled for this spring, wasn't it?
It was, actually. It's not finished yet. It's called Hidden Persuaders, and it's a DVD album. It's the next full-length album, but it has full visuals for every song. And it uses all different types of the visual medium, Super 8, Flash movies, 35 millimeter, DV, the whole thing. It's basically sort of revolving around the idea of subliminals in advertising and media manipulation, and drug company manipulations, and a lot of things that are happening, I think, to ultimately end up creating a meta reality that we're living in, which seems to be about control, especially in America. So we're sort of aimed at using some of those techniques. We actually use a lot of the techniques that media agencies use. We're using them in the music itself and in the visuals, sort of in a way like a reverse magic spell to kind of meet it halfway and try and break down some of the control processes that seem to be becoming overwhelming. That was the basic idea.